know what's going down. We got a special edition of the Initiates. We have a special guest. We're gonna be doing some live readings, some live Q&A. So if you into content like this, please pull up a seat, get comfortable as we begin to discuss this astrological reality amongst four initiates with a special guest, and we'll keep you updated when she joins the backstage. But have my co-hosts introduce themselves and let us know more about yourself as well.
Peace, everybody. It's Breeze reporting live from the Midwest, from the Great Lakes. Um, here for another episode. Uh, yeah, let's go. Have fun.
Let's get it.
What's up, y'all? Pieces Tribe. It's your boy AD, martial artist, grappler, writer, astrologer, you name it. Me and my boys, like Jamaicans, we got all types of jobs. We hustlers, and we met a God. Enjoy tonight's show where we really dive into that and explore those concepts. And let's rock. Shit, it was rock out. Shout out to the Nishies of the Flame, flameonshop.com. Get your ashwagandha, improve your testosterone, release your stress.
Get you some beet juice and watermelon, mix it.
I'm pulling.
All right, we here. We lit.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Hello?
We here.
Can you
Hey.
hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Can you see me? Because I can't see myself.
Yes, ma'am. We
Uh-oh.
can hear you, but we can't see you. It looks like a black screen.
The camera is on.
This is today's good.
Today's chart.
Yeah.
So, like I said earlier, we're going to do a live reading with our special guest. But before we get into that, make sure you join the Discord if you haven't already, because who knows, you could possibly be the next one that we bring up on stage. But at the end of the day, we do want to um, speak to the collective before we get into the personal. As y'all can see, it's a lot of planets and energies in that Piscean part of the chart. We're just coming off a solar eclipse. So I say all of that to say, how have y'all been perceiving and working with the energy so far throughout this weekend, I would say?
For me personally, I've really been doing like fast, just like really working on that, just fasting and really trying to sit with what comes with me and like get ready for these new times that's coming. Just spring, the new year, just really tapping into that energy. But besides that, that's really it. And just honestly, like networking, like really a lot of networking.
The networking piece have been big for me as well.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a time of closing up old wounds and beginning new journeys. Um, I've had some like systematic thoughts that have flown into my mind just to acknowledge the things that I've gotten past, the things that I've gotten through, some things from the past that still linger every now and again, but it's old news now. You got that old news feel to it, and it's just like, um, what's next? I'm excited for what's next. So that's the feeling I've got from this week.
Same. Spend a time of reflection, uh taking things a step further as far as like shadow work, um and coming to terms with like toxic habits and ideas. Because I feel like right now it's a real good time to bring certain things to an end, in the best way that we can, or at least bringing it to a minimum. Um, because that person that we see ourselves being in the future, um, is dependent upon us bringing toxic habits to an end. So it could be any type of addiction, you know what I mean? Like refined sugar, you know what I mean? Playing the victim, judging others, pornography, um, sloth, you know what I mean? These type of things. Because these are the things that we don't readily share with the world. These are things that we deal with on a personal level, and it's more of like in a hidden sense. And Pisces deals with hidden energy, you know. So it's just you just becoming more honest with yourself. Just kind of like the saying, like you don't got a lot to kick it, you don't lose nothing by being honest with yourself about things.
Right.
And I think it's a time of being mental emotional maturity, and yeah, a time of like shifting your perspective, and just becoming more mature as a spiritual being, and permanently holding space for spirituality, things like shadow work and meditation, because those two things are like the foundation of it all. Because once you're able to like go back and look at old journal entries, life make a little bit more sense, because it's real easy to what's the word, indulge in emotions, whether they're positive or negative, but it's real easy to just be in that emotional state, and think that and feel like that's all there is, but I think once you journal and then go back and see journal entries from like a year ago, it make more sense. It's kind of like the zodiac as a whole. Like we made up of all 12 signs, not just one deacon in one sign. So I would say I say all that to say it's just beginning to look at life in a more holistic way, not a fragmented piece way. Like I like this part of life and this part only. Whereas we're meant to feel anger, fear, sadness, love, gratitude. All of these are important. All these emotions are important.
Yeah, I like how you said that too, because it's like another aspect of Pisces that a lot of people don't really talk about is it's the house of self undoing, and a lot of people are stuck in that energy because it's like if you're not in a reflective state of your habits, your thoughts, and your actions, you're bound to be living in space of I can just do whatever I want, and then when you do that, you'll be like, man, why this stuff happening to me?
Mhm. I think one of the biggest breakthroughs I had in relation to what you and Breeze was saying was just like um, understanding that the negative trauma had to happen because that was the
Uh-huh.
mode to alchemy. Not like, and a lot of times you look at your life as like, why did this happen to me? This shouldn't have happened to me. But when you look at it from an alchemical lens, it had to happen exactly how it was laid out to happen, and in that ways of it happening, it brought you to transform lead into gold. The
Mm-hmm.
lead is was fucked up though. The lead is
Mm-hmm.
never like, oh, this is some pretty lead. I like this
Mm-hmm.
lead. This lead is actually comforting. It's like mad uncomfortable shit that you gotta actually grow through so you can
Mm-hmm.
fully understand the spectrum of the 12th house, the house of endings, the house of completion. Completion comes from understanding both sides of the spectrum at a emotional level so
Yeah.
you can really move on. And that's just how I feel. Because if you wasn't with me, that's just, it is what it is. I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Just ready to move on. But yeah, what about you, Serpent, before we get into the main event? how this energy been playing off for you throughout this weekend?
I don't know what's been coming to me so much is, you know how you always hear people talk about I'm focused on positivity right now. And I just don't know how possible the alchemical process is when one tries to hone in on everything that is so-called positive. So like um I know that alchemically speaking, you need both. Like you can't have just this idea of looking for and living in everything that's positive and then expecting things to be right and exact because that's not within alignment. You know, everything has balance. And I guess what I've been fine tuning is staying focused on the balance portion of things. Like when something negative or something that presents negative shows up or presents itself, to lean into it and to incorporate it as opposed to pushing it away and avoiding it. So I just been focusing on the balance part and for this next step, this next path within the initiates and for the flame. As far as I'm concerned, the balance part is the only thing that keeps the flame burning.
And when you think about that balance, it's always a give and take so the scales can be tipped. So it's like when you think about that balance being kept with the flame, because you're making those sacrifices in order to grow, in order to change, in order to raise your consciousness. Because that's the one thing we get confused about this stuff. We'll like make sacrifices. And it's like, no, we're giving offerings. When we make a sacrifice, we're really giving up something.
Indeed, man. Just to circle back, whenever our guest gets back, and we could just continue on discussing just universal energies and entities in reference to the solar eclipse that just happened. Uh, Serpent was just talking about like looking forward and really trying to conceptualize a solar eclipse in Pisces, where you're supposed to look forward with all of this like resulting energy. So I say all of that to say, like, have y'all been able to like have some time to reflect and also look ahead, and do y'all are y'all able to see what y'all look like in the future? Have y'all been doing the projection work or the future setting work in reference to the solar eclipse?
Yeah, that's really why I've been doing the fasting, so I can really like feel those downloads, tap into them, and have a clear mind. Because it's like, one aspect of like magic, and we could think about Mercury connected to Gemini and Virgo, relating to the hands and the stomach. You know what I'm saying? So I want to have those areas clean and just clear so I can really focus and meditate, have deep diaphragms. It's like I'm really, I'm on my Billy Carson shit. I'm talking to myself outside of myself because I'm projecting myself outside of myself. So it's like, I'm really been tapping into that. Like really being a strategist, really seeing those 5 moves ahead, like because it's like I was talking to my pop and he was just like, man, everything could change in instance from a moment of lust, a moment of greed, a great opportunity. A lot of things could change at any moment just off your choice. You being focused, being home, being important. If you don't know where to go, you need to lean on God's heart to find out where.
You was breaking up towards the end, big bro. What did he
I,
say?
I said, he said, and if you don't know where to go, you need to lean on God really hard so you know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the main focus. Because your choices in your life is important. They cause so much change, so much alter. So it's like every choice we make has to be hard. And of course, some people are gonna be like, I regret it, but I don't because that's what I care about at the time being. So it's like really having a focus, really having a forward pavement, and understanding your five next moves is so important because it's like it could change your life.
Mhm.
I envision I envision an old nigga running a farm with underprivileged kids. That's what I've been projecting.
I've been really trying to wrap my mind around, like, I'm trying to become like a ordained minister and a reverend, because a word that I didn't even understand until this week is a word called sacrament. And so a lot of times a person might see you smoking weed or talking about psychedelics, and it's like people might classify it as drugs, but it's another term for it called sacrament. And understanding the sacrament and then understanding ministry, I think a lot of people can be brought closer to God through certain forms and certain experiences. And it's something that I've just naturally been working up to, but I actually see the vision in moving forward with just the reality of being a religious institution. That's kind of how I see this energy moving forward. And I'm just like not even forcing it. It's just a natural progression process that I can just see clearly. And I just be wanting people around me and just like my friends and my family to just be so clear about how you see yourself moving forward, because that is something that you can absolutely manifest. But your clarity is kind of how you're going to be able to navigate this matrix moving forward.
Ashe. And also, Steph is backstage. So
Okay. I don't see her.
let's see if she make sure she's
I've
doing
been
everything.
I've been projecting just being an alchemist like to the highest degree. um being being someone that can be called upon to help, with things, whether it's, some type of consultation or creating some poultice or herb mixture, um removing hexes from people, things of that nature. um really seeing myself like being of service through being an alchemist, um and possibly, becoming a martial artist, a well-rounded martial artist that could do, kicks, punches, grappling, submission holds, all of that. And specifically just for the self-control part of it, mastering my physical body, is what I'm more concerned with, as opposed to whooping somebody ass, because usually the people that are really, really proficient, for lack of better words, at some type of martial arts, they got a certain level of mental peace to where like they don't really want too much but a clear mind. That's one of the most valuable things. So that's what I've been projecting, cultivating.
And that's a real thing that you say, that a peace of mind, because like before these was instruments of war or self defense, they was used as meditation techniques because most people
Yeah.
had a hard time sitting still. So they learned these movements in order to silence their mind and able to go within the movement. So it's a it's this fire martial arts movie everyone should watch. It's called I think I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna type it in the chat. But yeah, it's pretty fire. And they was meditating through the movements until they had to use it for war.
Like Tai Chi or Qigong.
Yeah, all that nature. They was all Buddhist monks, just in a temple training.
Peace.
Jeez.
You can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
I can
Now we
hear you.
can.
So AD, you go ahead and preface everything and get everything set up for us, and we can proceed with the show.
Can y'all hear
Hey,
me?
yes,
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Weird.
or maybe she can't hear us.
This is Steph. Sorry. Can you hear us now, Carlette? Carlette typed in chat that she can't hear nothing.
You can't hear us.
No, yeah, someone in the YouTube
Can y'all
chat.
hear me now?
Yeah, can you hear us,
Yes.
Steph?
I can't hear you, but you can hear me.
Yeah,
We
we
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you, but you can't hear us.
And the chat can hear Steph.
Hello?
Hey,
Yep.
Yep, we hear.
I don't even know what to say because I can't hear.
Can you hear us, Steph? Mm. And I wouldn't know what would make a person not be able to hear us.
the Matrix.
Hmm. Yeah, maybe she would probably need to turn the volume up on her phone, type of deal.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
using the phone. She got to turn the volume up on her phone.
Can you hear
Okay.
us?
I can hear you.
All right, we can do it like this. All right, we can see you, and we
Okay.
should be able to hear you now.
Okay. Oh, you know what? You can see me on my cell phone, but you can hear me on my laptop.
Yeah, it's they both connected.
Okay.
All right, cool.
I'm so sorry.
Ah,
That's
no,
all.
No worries.
nope, nope.
Not your
We do it
fault.
multiple times with technical difficulties.
Yeah, so
All right.
let's. I'm just happy we figured it out. So what I said earlier was AD is going to preface the conversation and lead the conversation, and just we're just going to just have a general reading,
Okay.
and yeah, and of course you can introduce us all, introduce us to her, to the audience, and so forth and so on.
So everyone, meet Stephanie Pearson. Miss Pearson, how you doing today? Tell the chat
I'm,
about yourself
I'm
and
good.
how can we help you with this reading today? What are the things you're looking for? What are you looking forward to? What's on your mind?
All right. So I am Stephanie. I'm doing really well today. Um, a little bit about myself.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I'm still learning me. I am a very hardworking person. And
I like Donald Trump.
huh,
Are you good? That was background noise. You good.
okay. So but what do I want to learn? What do I want to get out of this?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to learn the placements. I think looking at my chart, it kind of confuses me with all of my placements on one side and hardly nothing on the other side. Um, and what spiritual journey I guess I should be on. Because I have a lot of things in my head, but it just not sure. I'm just not sure what I need to be doing.
Okay, so I liked how you said that. Really
AD,
trying to.
can you try to zoom out a little bit?
Yeah, I got you. How's that?
Just so we can see the full chart.
Yeah, like
Well, one more.
put our pictures over to the side, or did that work?
Because then it's kind of small if we do it like
Yeah,
that. So that's what I was trying to see. Kind of can fix it and focus on the chart.
Okay.
Which way do y'all want it? Do y'all want it off to the side or do y'all want it like this?
like this, cool.
Yeah, it's fine
Okay.
with me because I got it up on two different sides too.
All right, just scroll up so we can see what signs that is in the third and fourth house. All right, cool.
Now, you said you was really looking forward to focusing on your journey, right? Or saying
Yeah.
really learning your placements.
Hmm.
So the one thing that we always talk about with astrology that we tell everybody to start off with is just really understanding your sun and moon sign,
Okay.
right? So if you could fixate on those two things, this can make your chart really easier to understand because the moon is what we track mostly every day. So understanding how you feel constantly and just looking at your chart, um, just the aspect of where your moon is just next to Uranus, I think is something pretty cool, honestly, pretty strong. Of course, you're going to be dealing with things like strong emotional changes and fluctuations. But, like, on the note, when it comes to your moon sign, like, or yourself pertaining to your feelings, how do you feel on a daily basis? Do you say you know all the time, or you say something that changes often?
No, no. I'm pretty present with where I be at every day. I'm always in a good headspace. A lot of times I am. If
Okay.
I'm not, I can identify why.
Uh, when I looked at the chart earlier, we were talking about it. The main I was trying to figure out because it was far away on my phone, and I couldn't figure out. And I thought it was Lilith conjunct the Midhaven, but it wasn't. It was the South Node. But yo, Lilith is actually in Capricorn in the fifth house.
Hmm.
So ultimately, when I'm looking at this chart, to just like cut straight to it, was somebody who probably would fit like free themselves by doing some form of psychic work where you more or less are a natural psychic. So I started to think about private practice, but even in a more practical sense, like something like a group home or something like a daycare. Is that something you ever thought about?
I used to work in a daycare, a church
Oh,
daycare.
oh okay.
Mm.
Yeah. Was that something you liked?
I did. I
Mhm.
did.
And so, like, you might come to a particular crossroads at a certain point in your life if you working in a corporate environment or just one would say Venus, Saturn, Mercury in the 10th house. You will have a quote unquote good job, but you will also be thinking about, damn, is this it for me? Should there be a deeper expansion in my life? And something that's not in like boss mode but also expansion would be that of like real estate, but with the hopes of having like a daycare center or group home for at risk teenage girls or runaways, things like that. And I would find that that would be more of a psychic outlet for you because it's easier for you to help people once you feel that they're comfortable with you and y'all both on like the same eye to eye level, i.e., family,
Mhm.
because your son is in cancer. So, family, bringing family together is a very important aspect to your overall day to day life. Fair to
Mhm.
say, or you think that's fair to say, or are you more
Yeah.
of like isolated? Okay, yeah, but like dealing with the public in a more family type of way. And it's just something to think about. This is something that was just real heavy on my heart to share with you. Um, if possible, if that's like a outlet, like a daycare center or a group home for
Okay.
at risk teenage girls.
Okay.
But go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. Okay. I do work. Well, I work for attorneys too. So,
Mm.
and I
Mm.
am at that point where like this. No.
And you said attorneys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, yeah, Moon and Libra dealing with political issues and diplomacy, so that's pretty dope. It really just points to that. Just even
Like paralegal work.
I'm a paralegal
Okay.
for personal injury. So if you're in a car accident,
For sure. Yes, yes.
okay. All right. So dealing with the public.
So now with the placements, is there something in the chart that you see that stands out to you, or you feel like that's just so confusing, or every time I come back and look at this, I just look at it and just don't know.
All right. So I know that my Chiron is in Aries.
Yes.
All right. Um so I'm not quite sure what Aries is all about. I know it's the first sign. Um I know that it has something to do with leadership. So since this is my birth chart, then how does that like affect me now? Because yes, I did work at a daycare center. Yes, I do work like a corporate job. So is it like different times in your life where you have to deal with different things? And this is sidereal, so I'm used to the tropical, but it kind of says the same thing a little bit.
Yeah, because it's at the beginning of Chiron. So if
Mhm.
it's at the beginning of Chiron in the sidereal chart, then it will line up in both sidereal and western. So
Yeah.
western is just 24 degrees ahead of a sidereal chart.
Okay.
But like in reference to Chiron and Aries, this you talk about a birth chart. This is really like dealing with that trauma that maybe happened early in life,
Hmm.
right? So something that you're not conscious of, and I've been like asking people this question all day, just trolling them, but it's kind of serious now when you think about it. Like, do you remember the first day that you were born? And that Chiron at this particular point of your chart, it literally represents a wound early in life that you have to kind of more or less when you deal with Chiron, it's like you might be conscious of it, but more than not, you're not conscious of it. And it kind of might be something that you would have to like really reflect or rely on your parents to tell you the truth. And that would just more or less be based upon your stories of growing up because it is in the eighth house and the eighth house is ruled by the mother or conception. things like that. So it could be something in reference to your father, in reference to your mother, but your overall foundational years, that's where your trauma really resolves in. So it could be some form of being unprotected and then having to work through that trauma later in life, if
Mhm.
that makes sense. From my perspective, but everybody else can answer how they see it.
Yeah, because like for me, when I see Chiron and just the story of Chiron and how he got afflicted,
Mhm.
he got wounded, it was a wound that can never be healed. So it's something that we constantly have to tend to and really look at and understand. That's like when you see the story of Chiron. That's how I look at it because he, was constantly get his placenta ripped out by Zeus as a baby.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah. I would say that kind of reiterating about like working at a daycare, working with children, being a grandmother, really because one thing about Chiron, he has this wound that he can't heal within himself, but he understands how to heal it in others. So basically using what you've learned, it's kind of like the ingredients for your alchemy with your wound, using what you learned in order to formulate ways of like healing and protecting, the younger generation. um and I think it's something that's a little bit more of uh like a subconscious thing that you just know how to do. You know what I mean? Whether it's like caring for or even just knowing how to talk to younger people.
Mhm.
I think that's a gift within itself. And being approachable to younger people. That's what I see, in Chiron and Aries. Because it's a very because the eighth house is transformation. And it's a place where so when you're young, transformation is on the way. Is just on the way. So I think that you may have a lot of know withal with how to like just speak to the younger generation or the younger people in your family, um, because they might have things that they're dealing with. They don't even know how to ask for help.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Mhm.
If if that resonates with you, but that's what I see with it.
Okay. It resonates. I remember. I don't remember my birth. Um, but what you say, sir?
No, I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing at Hood for saying that shit.
I just been messing with people.
No. I remember I did have a situation where we were at my aunt's house and all of us me and my cousin, brother and sister were just running around my aunt's house, running around my aunt's house. And I remember being in the last one because I think I may have been the youngest or whatever. And my aunt was like, Stephanie, sit your little teaspoon of booty down. And I just I just sat down and I wasn't mad or anything, but growing up, I was always insecure, always self-conscious of myself because I always felt like, well, she made me feel like I was maybe trying to show off. And I wasn't. I may have been like 4 or 5 years old, but that's the situation that I remember. And then when I got into church, I kind of put it together as I just sat down and I just set my whole life down. I did not, I sat in the background. I became an introvert. I became one of those people that just watched other people enjoy themselves. And I didn't mind, it just didn't bother me watching other people enjoy themselves. But I know that I started putting everybody else in front of me because I didn't want to make it seem like I was just this show off person that was always trying to glamorize herself around other people and parade around other people. And then just recently, I realized that that was that trauma that I always had. You know what I'm saying? When I started,
Mhm.
like trying to understand the zodiacs and stuff. And that was a wound that I didn't realize that I had until I realized that it was a wound for real, because it wasn't traumatizing, but it was because I think it affected my subconscious mind.
Your formative years, and it's like if you have an imperfection and it grows, that your body just reroutes around this
Mhm,
imperfection that you then have to recorrect to then
mhm,
just get your systems realigned.
mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
It does
yeah.
have stifled self-expression within that point of the chart too.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you feel like your expression was stifled a little bit when you were young. It
yeah.
made it challenging for you to assert yourself.
Mhm, yeah, yeah,
Well, part of that healing process is, you learning to stand up for yourself and embracing your right to be. You know, a lot of
yeah.
people within this placement, eventually find that asserting themselves leads to their individuality being able to peak along this healing journey. So, the placement actually encourages your bravery, of overcoming inner fear, you know.
And just like a strong prompt just for this Aries and Chiron and Aries, just who am I? Understanding who you are, question that, because that self discovery and work is what's going to really help be a strong guide for this, especially connecting to younger people, because that's one thing that they have to do constantly. But it's like everyone around them is telling them who they are, and they don't know who
Mhm,
they are. So to
mhm,
see someone who's like taking those steps, that's that has the wisdom and that's able to give it to them, relate to them.
Mhm.
That's back to what Hood was saying earlier about the daycare and just working with women, like having a women's mentor or having women come together, you ladies doing womb steam, just all kinds of things of spiritual nature that you can even start young women on. Like, and it starts with who am I? Because that's something we all have to go through, and which is one of the hardest parts to start at.
And I think like maybe y'all let me know if y'all disagree, but y'all need somebody in y'all life to help you build yourself up. You can't just build yourself up by yourself. And
mhm,
so you would look at yourself in the world and say, am I a person that is going to help build young people into adults? Or am I just going to play the background? So really asserting yourself in people's lives. But when we look at your chart, you're a woman that's about business at the end of the day, too. But you love and you care and you but at the same time, I do view it as an opportunity as well for you, um, to really tap into building young children in healthy, responsible ways. And there's a place for people like you. And it might be like a moon in the second house where money is a mental condition. It also is a point of freedom for you to understanding your chart, working through your trauma, asserting yourself. It all works in a way of liberation because it's almost like the same thing that's going to hold you back is also going to be the same thing that frees you because your moon is conjunct Uranus. So you have your lower conscious, subconscious mind also connected to a spiritual awareness. And part of life, from my observation, is for you to put forth everything that you are to help assist humanity move forward in your own special unique way that's going to be above and beyond, collecting a paycheck for lack of better words, but making a real difference and impacts on people's lives on purpose,
mhm.
right? It's a part of your mission statement, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
see a balance. I see a balance between creative intuition and discipline. Um, you have those creative juices, but you also have the staunch ability to want to be and have to instill discipline in the things that you do, but you love letting it hang out as well.
Hmm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
I think also with your Pluto in the first house, second deacon of Virgo, it speaks to like, later in life, actually, you know, beginning to create that positive self-image, or basically cultivating more and more of a positive self-image, because I think your ability to help um other people is related to how well you see yourself, because we can't elevate people or make positive impacts in people's lives when we don't feel as good about ourselves, or
Hmm.
rather we can do it at a very high level um, when we can do it at a high level for ourselves.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the gifts that you have that you can share with others, you also can turn that inward and elevate yourself as well. um yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and probably like I'm sure Black don't crack. I'm sure people don't tell you you don't look your age.
Hmm.
I think with Pluto in the first house is really, you've probably been blessed with very good health, taking care of yourself as time goes on,
Hmm.
um, in order to make the most out of the gifts that we speaking on from Chiron, and the moon conjunct Uranus.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to add on to that placement, like like what Bree said, the second deacon, just where it has located, just from the transformation work, is going to be so much to gain. It's going to be so much to really like even profit from, just from doing the deep work. It's
Place
just
of
that
abundance.
yeah, real talk. It's just like just diving into that darkness within yourself and just pulling things out and just constantly observing and constantly just questioning it and putting the work in, because it's like even this nacha shatra that's governing the symbol is a hand, and so it's like even you might be doing certain work with your hands, you might even just be doing all types of things. So I feel like it's a lot to honestly gain from this place.
Would you say you consider traditional emotional expressions or relationships restrictive?
Say that one more time.
Would you say you consider traditional emotional avenues of expression or relationships restrictive?
No, I like traditional.
Okay.
One another placement that stands out to me is the Sun trine Neptune. The Sun is in the deacon. Well, speaking in tarot cards, the Sun is in Two of Cups. Neptune is in the Six of Cups, and you have like basically love and pleasure working together. Um, and I see you as a person that really, really um finds pleasantry and happiness in like spirituality. It may be some things that come easy to you. Um, I would say also like sharing it with others, because you got the sun in the 11th house. So you might even be looked at as a spiritual leader to some people in the family, some sense of a leader. Um,
Yeah. They
and
tied
like,
it to church all the time though.
Mm,
you said, what
So
about church?
they always tied to church. It's always church.
mm. My sun is in the 11th house. My Pluto is in the first house, and my Neptune is in the third house.
Mm.
Same way in your chart.
Okay.
So when there's a will, there's a way. And a lot of times with that Pluto in the first house, you can surprise yourself. And sometimes when you say, there are barriers, there will be. But if there's options and solutions, there are as well. There is a strong pull for you to lead and unite and be that bridge, and it's okay if they are in church at a certain perspective, because part of that is just where they're at a spiritual place and time of their development. But where you're at is being able to see both sides of the fence and be
Hmm.
that bridge. And when you become non-denominational in your heart, you will see that everything will open up for you, because a lot of it is kind of rooted in that trauma in reference to how they view the world. And sometimes people operate within a limit, meaning that they can't exist past that limit. But you, as really a goddess reincarnated, have to kind of learn to like see people exactly where they're at. But then that sun, that first deacon of Cancer, the principle of love, is a certain level of unconditional love that you can exude that just unlocks everything for you. A lot of tolerance, a lot of patience, a lot of understanding, but also a lot of bridge building and a lot of healing of generational curses and wounds.
Mhm.
Actually, yeah, 'cause it's
Intuitively brilliant. Intelligence might come in flashes, like sudden downloads. The placement signals a person who picks up the collective emotional current or has psychic flashes. She might feel different from others from a young age, like she doesn't quite fit in emotionally.
Mhm.
yeah, and that's why I had asked earlier about with that conjunction of Uranus and the moon, because it's like when you really like listen to yourself or tap in, I bet you ain't got all types of flashes or you just knew something's going to happen. And
Yeah.
earlier when they had talked about Neptune, being in the third house, I had asked Hood when we was looking over your chart. I was like, bro, don't you got Neptune in your third house? And he was like, yeah. I remember him talking about it, and he said how he went on live and just started talking about spirituality, and it just happened from there. So it's like you and your chart, you know, don't be afraid to have a spiritual communication. Feel free to open about that because it's
Mhm.
like you have that placement of psychic intuitiveness, spirituality. It's like it's there for you. It's just about you realizing it for yourself. Because it's like when I had got into your Saturn conjunct Mercury, sometimes like our mind about ourselves can be like kind of restraint in a way. Because sometimes everyone can see the greatness in us, but we have a hard time seeing it in ourselves. So
Mhm.
you gotta give yourself that grace that you're able to give everybody else with your love that you have. Because when you give it to yourself, you can understand people when they do fuck shit.
Mhm.
Weird, quirky, and strange is your bag. Whenever you conform, you do not excel.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I will look at that. So a lot is highlighted in the second deacon of Gemini in your chart in the 10th house. So
Mhm.
let's just imagine you have like a large electrical wire box, but all of the wires is all tangled. And you like, all right, let's power this building up. And you like, oh, I don't know about that. Is but you then have to also understand that when you organize what you love, discipline, and just your overall relationship with Ishu, Alegwa, that trickster spirit, it's all happening within your mind. So, in trying to fixate and focus in on this chart and be as precise as possible, that's what your chart is really pointing out to. Like, you have to organize your mind in a space where you are understanding the things that you are doing on a day to day basis, and you're also setting times for self love, self awareness, spa dates, or nails. Like these things can't just be working, and then take care of yourself second. Like everything has to be in some form of order and alignment for you, because that part of your chart, it just seems like it could just be very complicated and very nuanced if you don't pay attention to it. But anybody else can
Yeah, no, that structure that he's talking about, boom, Moon and Libra. Boom, first house in Virgo. You know, you have people see that structure, people see your organization. You know, you can build that from having just an analytical mind. So
Mhm.
if you have that structure, you know, you place that in your life, you be able to give that to other people easily. Because like a lot of people, you know, and what they have a hard time understanding spiritually is that their habits really create their life. You know, so it's like understanding what you do to a day to day basis, and that's like really in Virgo. And then with the moon in Libra, is being able to speak that to people and have that organization and being able to adapt to the changes and show people how to adapt. Because what's the main thing you hear people say all the time? They don't have time.
Right.
So teaching people that, giving that organization structure is what you have.
Okay.
You have a strong need for mental stimulation, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how deep with some air sign energy. I'm not gonna lie. You have like two TVs on, typing something.
she she has to be mentally stimulated, otherwise she'll get bored.
I get bored. Hmm.
Would you say you were kind of like a popular person growing up?
Nope. I was
No?
an
Okay.
introvert. I grew up introverted.
Okay.
She's a weirdo. She's a weirdo like us.
Hmm.
I I think Mars in the 12th house is very interesting. That's why I asked. Um, but to me it seems like you might like you like what they're saying, a lot of mental capacity for things. Um, I would even say if you're not doing it now, using, that paralegal skill set for like researching different things and spirituality, kind of like taking it from like looking at a case to actually looking at like your emotional state per se, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but using
Interesting.
that same skill set and using it, just using something you're familiar with and applying it to that without me rambling too much.
Okay.
Um, because I feel like a lot of the skills that we develop through, work and things like that,
Hmm.
it can be used for other things. It's not just for to pay the bills. It can be
Right.
used for bringing clarity to specific things about spirituality.
Hmm.
And I think that will be tremendous for you.
Okay.
Because I see you as a very, very assertive person. Like once you know what you want, you're not really gonna take no for an answer. That's
Hmm.
what I get from Mars in the 12th house.
Mhm.
Um, and it's in Leo at that, so it's kind of, you know, you're ready. You might have to knock somebody down to get what you want, but it's more of a sense of not like physically doing it, but more of a sense of, you know, let that passion flow through you, when you're approaching spirituality and things like that. But I would say to definitely keep that in mind. Your paralegal skill set, try to
Hmm.
apply that to spirituality with organizing, and researching, and creating some type of, journal for just astrology, a journal just for deities that are interesting to you, that resonate with you. um yeah.
And walk me through paralegal. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're trying to figure something out through your job, like you trying to get to the point of something, or are you just collecting data?
So I collect data in order to, we settle cases. So if someone
Hmm.
is hurt, then we direct the client where they need to go to get improvement
Hmm.
physically.
Hmm.
We compile that information and send it to the insurance company.
Hmm.
We negotiate it for a settlement.
Okay.
Hmm.
And so you collecting all of the data, but then also redirecting the client as well,
And
communicating
analyzing. Yeah.
and analyzing. And
Hmm.
so one would have to have a strong skill set. And my next follow up to that was like, did you ever feel or are you ever told that you are overqualified for that position? Like you could be doing more?
No, I get kind of like dumbed down because of what I do.
No,
Mm.
but you
It's not.
feel
But
in your heart
intuitively,
you feel overqualified,
Yeah,
don't you?
but
intuit.
intuitively,
You feel overqualified for it
Yeah.
per se. Yeah,
I can
right.
see that shit on your face. Like she's
Yeah,
like,
because
like these
well,
motherfuckers is beneath me.
Yeah, because like lately, I'm like, you try me one more time. Listen.
Mhm.
yeah, because with that what Breeze was talking about the Mars in the 12th house. I have Mars in the 12th house, so I can relate. Mine just is in the third deacon. I mean, second deacon. So, but what I'm trying to get at is that the mental capacity that you have subconsciously, like you're mentally strong, and what Bree said about that passion, if you can really tap into that every day, because it's like mine is in Pisces, right, but yours is in Leo.
Okay.
So it's like what we just talked about right there. Like you have to take that inner passion that you just felt. Like if you know you intuitively overqualified, it's like a lion is like a king. A lot of people don't realize that they deserve steak, but you're a person that deserves that. You know that you deserve steak subconsciously. You
Mhm.
know in your heart, and it shows out through your actions and your work because your Mars is trying your moon. I mean, sextile your moon. So how you feel about your work and your skills is really something that's a deep passion for you.
Yeah.
So it's like the way you go to work is like, yeah, it's kind of like, forget them in this job at the end of the day. Like, ain't nobody gonna say nothing about my work though. That's facts. And I feel that because mine is opposed. My Mars is opposed my moon. So it's tension. But with yours, it's strengthening it. It's giving
Mhm.
it clarity. So really tap into that, like, fuck 'em.
All right, this is just a psychological draw up. So um her emotions can be rapid and flipping, like flipping a switch. She may go from calm to agitated or inspired, withdrawn without much warning. She feels deeply, but not always consistently. There is a nervous edge to her emotional life, and this can make relationships both exhilarating and volatile. She craves freedom. She deeply values emotional independence. Claustrophobic relationships or environments will feel suffocating. She needs space to feel safe emotionally, mentally, and sometimes physically. Conventional roles, especially in relationships, are likely to feel restrictive. She's intuitively brilliant. Her emotional intelligence might come in flashes like sudden downloads. And this placement signals a person who picks up the collective emotional current or has the psychic flashes she might feel different from others at a young age. And she doesn't look to fit in because she doesn't fit in emotionally. Disruption in maternal line. We spoke about that earlier. Sometimes this aspect reflects a unique, unpredictable relationship with the mother, and either the mother was highly unconventional, emotionally distant, or unavailable in expected ways. This may have caused her to develop self reliance early on, for better or for worse. And she has a rebellious heart. There's a subtle but not so subtle emotional rebellion against traditional norms, especially around how she should feel or express emotions. She's here to rewrite her script. What do you think?
Sounds on point. I am here too. Yes, I had mother issues as a child.
You guys have an unconventional relationship,
No, we good now.
but I mean the relationship that you guys had, was it not a normal mother daughter relationship?
No,
Yeah,
no.
unconventional. Yeah, yeah, that came right up. That's in like one of the first lines.
Mm-hmm.
It tells you to embrace the weird, save the unpredictability, create life structures that allow you for change, jobs, relationships, and routines that honor how you need and what you need for a variety of freedom. And emotional grounding, breath work, embodiment with nature, tools to calm your nerves, and a system for your emotional planning.
Okay, you said that I don't like feeling smothered. I hate feeling smothered in a relationship.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
not to cut your wisdom.
No, you good. You good.
What speaks to that is your Jupiter and your descendant in Aquarius. This is like how you want to be, how you react to being approached. Like you like a person who can be independent, but know how to still communicate and give the conversation. But at the same time, it's like, yo, let's link up, let's kick it. But it's like, all right, I'm gonna go back over here. You know what I'm saying? And it's no hard feelings. I'm gonna hit you up tomorrow. Just I'm gonna go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like to be pushed into doing things I don't want to do.
Mhm.
But I can be flexible too. But I, mm-mm.
I would lean into Moon conjunct Uranus in the second house. That's a very powerful aspect in a space where you're able to just be just this complete and utter individual. And like, where do you feel held back at? Where do you feel like you can't express yourself? Really journal about that, get clear, and like, walk through it. Act like, create a different viewpoint in reference to, something like, I can't build with them because they go to church, or the fact that they are in church is one of the reasons which makes this, you know be a good thing. I don't know, but just more or less like reprogramming your subconscious mind in reference to the world that you want to live in. There is no limits. But if you imagine it to be a limit, you got to really look at Uranus as a planet that will free you. And when you look at your chart, your first house is spiritual, your second house is spiritual, your third house is spiritual. A lot of that is like in reference to who you came to this earth to be, and everything was set up for you to kind of take advantage of this moment. So another word that comes to mind when looking at this chart is perfect timing. It's always perfect timing on your end. You never too late, you never early, you always right on time.
That sounds good.
Mhm.
Something tells me you don't like being not on time. Like
You ever said the quote, "Being on time is being late."
that might be a pet peeve for her. It's like, the time is now. Like, what the fuck?
You said get here at 6:30. That's late. I got here at 6:15.
Look, I got here at 6:31. Um, yeah.
Now, with all this being said, like, does this help give you like an understanding and like where to constantly keep a good study for yourself and things to work on when you journal?
Mm.
Okay.
Do you
Yeah.
have any other questions?
Yeah, because
I
we want
do
this to be
journal.
applicable for you. You know what I'm saying?
Say that one more time.
I said we want this to be applicable for you. Like you're leaving way, you know what to do, have a structure for yourself, and still have questions. Because we're always going to be in Discord.
Ask the deep questions because that's what we here for.
Right.
Yeah. I do journal. I have my dream journal. I dream a lot, so I have that. I have my regular journal. I have a journal that I keep when I'm out, outside of the house. So I do. I write a lot, and I think a lot too. Um, but you were talking about how my first, second, and third houses are all spiritual. So is that the reason why people feel like I'm supposed to be a prophetess and and all of that?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you exude that.
Hmm. It's like somebody can sense that you connected to something much more than they're connected to. And it would be like if I'm what's that, a dandelion, and you a rose, and I'm blooming every day and you ain't bloom yet, and I'm like, ha ha, Stephanie, look at me, I'm a beautiful dandelion, and you kind of insecure about it, like, damn, this nigga blooming every day, like, what's
Right.
going on, right? And then eventually you become a rose, and then you looking down at this nigga like, yo ass, like, like, because it took longer for you to get to your self realization of who you always were.
Mm-hmm.
That's Pluto in the first house. It is something monumental that you are, but it takes longer for you to walk into it. But if you know that you are connected to the divine in the most intimate way, it becomes more of a responsibility for you to share sun in the 11th house, right? It becomes something that it becomes a ministry. You could start seeing yourself in the minister or the reverend robe and really be in the church with your family, and they all what I'm saying, like, really connecting the dots here, you know what I'm saying? But I'm being funny, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, I hope you can kind of see the vision that you can know the truth and still connect to your family in the church if you want to,
Mm-hmm.
because you understand who you are, and that can't nobody take that away from you. But there is a certain level of truth that you got to begin to share with others,
Okay. It
but you're
seems
growing
like,
into that.
huh?
But you growing into that
Yeah.
realization is up and coming.
Yeah.
And how you said, like, you said people see you as a prophetess, or people see this deepness in you. That's the aspects of just the first house. People always want to see something in you that you don't see in yourself.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
got
like,
a phone call this morning about that.
Mhm.
What?
it'd be crazy because it's like, you'll say something so smooth, or just something you say every day, and it'll impact somebody. Be like, damn, Steph. You be like, what?
Yeah. I do have a question. So, why does it seem like when you become aware of things, like once I became on this spiritual journey and how everything is explained, like everything that you all are explaining is something like I feel like I already know, but
1000%.
when it's
These are
being,
all just reminders, and we're like little beacons that already exist within your consciousness. We're just here to remind you. Like, no one outside of you could ever teach you this stuff. This
hmm
stuff already exists within you. So we're just like the beacon reminders of where to look, right? Or to understand when you're looking in a particular place, what that means.
hmm yeah, it seems a little harder when you studying different things. Like I have to read about stuff that I felt like I've always known. And it seems like it's harder because what came natural, I'm reading about. And now I feel like it kind of, I don't know, is it authentic still because I'm reading about it? Or is it, I don't know how to, I hope I'm saying it right. You understand what I'm saying?
It seems like you on the cutting edge of consciousness, and you don't realize it. And then once they catch up to you, you like, dang, it was I hallucinating this whole time? But the
Right.
reality is, like, you supposed to move forward with the confidence of God, because God is like, build the ark, Noah, and nobody else is building arks. And Noah,
Mhm.
and it's a metaphor, of
Yeah.
course, in reference to being insightful. And a part of your psychic lore is to do things out of promptings, out of intuition, and that's a skill. That's kind of like something that you develop within yourself,
Mhm.
because you will then get used to this process of having all of this knowledge within you. That's
Mhm.
another aspect of the first, second, and third house being filled with transpersonal planets. All of this data is within you. That's the hardest part about this chart right now because it'll be like we like white boy coaches trying to tell Michael Jordan, hey, you need to get it, form that jumper right, Mike.
Hmm.
You need to
Hmm.
line up your elbows. And Mike looking at us like, nigga, shut the fuck up. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah. It's like Phil
Okay.
Collins. It's like Doug Collins telling Michael how to shoot a free throw. He's like, bitch ass free throw, nigga. Like the fuck.
Oh my God.
so,
Okay.
so the talent is you're the holder of the talent, and you just have to begin to show in whatever you feel safe, wherever you feel comfortable. But I would say Mars in the 12th house is like your intuition is always A1, but your doubt of your intuition is the issue here. So you gonna have to be much more riskier, much more adventurous, taking chances, because it might seem real crazy for you, but to the next person, it's like, girl, you should have been did that. What you mean?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Start a YouTube channel. I've been telling you to do that, or things like that. Like, and it might be real uncomfortable for you. Like, I never saw myself doing that.
Mhm.
But if you get into a space where your intuition is saying, Stephanie, do this, don't even think about it. Because you're going to read about it in a book. You'll be like, now, Spirit, you's the one who told me to do this first. But
Hmm.
that's just as playing with you to let you know, like, this is a spiritual world and
Mhm.
you are connected to the all. You don't need no intercessory, no big homie, no OG, because that's who you are.
Okay.
So, and that's Chiron in the first house because it's like the leader, your healing is in you stepping into your big dog energy. You know what I'm saying? Yo, all right, y'all, we gonna tuck our Stephanie coming. We about to,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
Yeah, you have
Interesting.
you have a ridiculous amount of spiritual power, and it's just a matter of you recognize those signs. And you, when you get to that point, you'll probably understand, like, damn, these signs have been there all along. It's just been a difference or a matter of you acknowledging them and recognize them for what they are versus
Mhm.
it just being some random shit that you see. So
Mhm.
like it's just a trust in yourself that what you're seeing is what you're actually seeing.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
and
say,
all the energy in your chart like is really pointing to you just being a leader.
But I like being in the
Super psychic.
background.
You super
that's
psychic,
that's
I know that.
that's the alchemy. That's the alchemy. That's the transformation. I love being in the background for my whole life. First house transformation. Now I'm the leader of the first metaphysical church in Georgia. I got
Mm.
1,000 members.
Hmm.
you know, and I was in the background, y'all. I never would have saw this for myself. That's Pluto in the first house. This is a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly. Your
Oh.
reality as being in the background is not a truth. That's just the stem. The stem ain't the flower. Nobody look at that stem like, you see that rose over there? No, I don't see it. I don't see no rose. I see a stem. That ain't no
Mhm.
rose. But
Hmm.
once you actually blossom, which your life is made for blossoming, your life is made for developing. And I would say, in reference to the church, which have something to do with God, maybe not the particular church you grew up in or the particular church folk that you used to, that undercurrent of religiosity
Mhm.
and the way that your family talk to you and treat you is because they see that goddess Shekinah energy within your being. And you just got to get more comfortable with expressing that. And everything comes in order and alignment for you,
Okay.
just from my perspective.
Mhm.
Yeah, a couple things came to mind, especially when you mentioned about when you were younger, you were told to sit down. It
Mhm.
makes me think that, she may have seen a certain level of happiness that she didn't have within you, and it
Yeah.
was kind of like, how dare you be happy on a certain level, and it's kind of like shutting it down. kind of
Yeah.
like how Cinderella was treated. Cinderella was the most beautiful sister, but they, downplayed her so much that she actually believed it. But kind of in reference to what we was talking about before, the lava is the ingredients for the alchemy, you know. And I think also another thing, begin to like strengthen your intuition through meditation, through altar work. Because it's important for you to make a delineation between your thinking and your mind and your intuition and spirit. Because with to me it looks like with Saturn conjunct Mercury, you limit yourself sometimes with what you agree upon for yourself. When you look at reality and you say, okay, well, it's just supposed to be like this, or it's okay that it's that way. that's that's you creating boundaries for yourself. Whereas, Mars in the 12th house, you're always like we've been already saying, you're always connected to the divine. You're always able to receive messages. Because a lot of times, for me personally, when I thought stuff out, intricate plans, it didn't work out how I thought it would. But some of the best situations in my life happened when I just went with a feeling, you know.
Yeah.
So just to think about, like, you don't you can't think your way into success. You do have to develop skills, but you have to trust your intuition, you have to trust God, and you have to protect that connection, that build between you and God, or you and your soul. Because that's the one thing that's not going to steer you wrong. That's the one thing that's not going to give you uh, poor results.
Mhm.
It's our own personal thought processes that was shaped by our environment, the people around us, that gives us difficulty.
Mhm. Yeah. I know that I feel like I be playing tricks on myself, little
Mm-hmm.
playing mind games with myself, like my mind is playing tricks on me.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of right, and at the end of the day, I'm like, dang, I think I was really supposed to do this, but I ended up doing what makes other people comfortable
Mm-hmm.
as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to what I know I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said earlier, like with the line with the Leo, a king knows it deserves state. So you know what you deserve, and you know it's coming for you, and you want it.
Mhm.
You gotta tell other people no. Because when you build in something and you find people that's showing up without you having to tell them, they there, they give you the
Mhm.
ideas. That's your people. Versus
Mhm.
we have to constantly tell somebody da da da.
Mhm.
You got to know what is for you, and what people show you. You got to accept it.
Okay. I am going to, I have a lot of notes, so I'm going to definitely reread my notes and really take this into consideration. This a lot of this is something that I'm going through now that I'm dealing with myself, just being comfortable transitioning, and not allowing people to make me feel like, no, you all right. You just need to go ahead and just do this and you'll be fine. And I know that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. So I
Mm-hmm.
am, and I do it more at work because I work more than I'm at home.
Mm.
I I realize that that is what I'm doing at work more. You know, yeah,
Yeah, you can't dim your light, boo boo.
yeah,
You can't push your stuff down and diminish yours because your light is one of the brightest, if not the brightest. So,
Because about your sun sign. What people tend to forget about Cancer is that even though it is a water sign, and it's a crab, and it's what's the word, linear in its movement. At the end of the day, it's still a cardinal sign.
Hmm.
So it still has that passion. It still has that drive. It's just you have to see
Ashe.
Shay, I hope you got what you came for.
I
This was
did.
Mhm.
fun.
it.
This was fun.
And if you still need help, it's just in the Discord. You know what I'm saying?
I
Absolutely.
mean, you
Discord.
more connected. You more connected than
Discord.
anybody to the initiates. So you can pull the initiates right up on your phone. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, I got AD. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it.
Of
I
course,
appreciate
thank you.
thank you for allowing us this space.
it. Right. Hmm.
Yes, anybody interested in the chat for future notice, flameonshop.com has readings where you can book your readings ahead of time. You can also gain personal readings from each and every person on this panel, from Hood Mystic, from Jabri to AD to myself. So join the Discord, join the Discord, join the Discord. We are the fuck around and find out type. So please come around, fuck around and find out.
Absolutely. Wow.
Patreon.
Thank you. Thank y'all so much. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome. You're welcome.
It
Peace.
was amazing. We'll see you in the
Thank you.
Discord.
All right.
You already know what to do. Everybody else, you as well. Join the Discord. Have a strong week. Finish out strong. Use this energy of the planetary alignments, and that's all she wrote. Murder what she wrote.
Peace to the
Uh,
tribe.
Peace to the
Peace.
collective.